Jailton Almeida is facing Derrick Lewis. Originally, it was supposed to be Almeida versus Curtis Blades, and unfortunately, I do think that is a better fight, possibly a more competitive fight, but instead we got Derrick Lewis. Always fun to watch him fight. But he's got a tough opponent. Jailton Almeida is stylistically a pretty terrible matchup for Derrick Lewis. He's a pretty young guy. He's only 32, and in my opinion, he's got future contender potential. He's already only like a fight or two away from a title shot. As I said, he was originally supposed to face Curtis Blades, who I think is ranked number 4, but now he's facing Derrick Lewis, who's like ranked number 10, which is unfortunate because if he did go out and beat Curtis Blades, which I wouldn't favor him in, I think Blades would probably beat him. You can make the argument he should get a title shot right after that fight, but now facing Derrick Lewis, who's lost like 4 out of his last 5, he'll still need another win or two. But let's talk about this fight and why I think Derrick Lewis actually has a better chance than what people are saying. I think the odds have Jailton Almeida is like a 5-1 favorite, and I don't agree with that at all. It's a pretty simple fight where Almeida wants to take the fight down and submit him, and if this fight touches the ground once, Derrick Lewis probably loses. Whereas Lewis wants to keep the fight standing, find an opening, catch Almeida, and knock him out. As on the feet, Lewis is just simply better than Almeida. Almeida does have pretty good kicks. He's got good front kicks, good leg kicks, but his boxing is not great. He loops with a lot of his punches, which leaves openings defensively that Derrick Lewis can exploit. His overall striking defense isn't too good. He doesn't have good head movement. He moves all right. He's very fast with his footwork. He's very athletic. He can dart into range very quickly. He can transition from striking to grappling pretty easily. But when you leave holes like he does on the feet, and when you don't move your head against a guy with so much power like Derrick Lewis has the most knockouts in UFC history. He's overall one of the hardest hitting guys in the UFC, and he's going to have a pretty big size advantage. He'll probably weigh somewhere around 270, 275, whereas Almeida actually used to fight at light heavyweight and only weighs somewhere around 230. He'll have like a 40, 50 pound weight advantage, which will also help him in the wrestling sequences, as although Derrick Lewis doesn't have the best takedown defense, he's just a big guy, which makes him hard to take down and hard to hold down, which is extremely important because if this fight touches the ground once, if Almeida can get one takedown, I don't know if Derrick Lewis survives. Derrick Lewis got submitted so easily by Sergey Spivak, and if you get submitted that easily by Spivak, you're going to get submitted even easier by Almeida. To me, Almeida has the best grappling in the heavyweight division, besides maybe Tom Aspinall. Him and Tom Aspinall are my top 2 by a mile. Oh, and John Jones. I forgot about John Jones. Them 3 are my top 3. They're all sort of in a category of their own, definitely a lot higher than Sergey. But Almeida is very good at transitioning between different positions. He can transition into mount super quickly. He can get your back, get his hooks in. It's hard to explode and stand up against this guy because any openings you leave, he'll jump at submissions. He's very quick to attack any opening you leave, and Derrick Lewis is the king of just trying to stand up, use his strength, and just overpower his opponents. He can do that against a lot of heavyweights, but against Almeida, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and a guy who jumps at every single submission opportunity, it's hard for me to see a world where Derrick Lewis gives up his back, tries to explode up, and doesn't get choked out. The second Derrick Lewis gets taken down, he's going to look to give up his back. Almeida's going to slide his hooks in and either flatten him out and land ground and pound, or try and get the choke in and submit him, or he could find his way into mount, posture up, land ground and pound, or look for an arm triangle, and that's where Lewis could also give up his back and get submitted. But it's the takedowns that Almeida really exposes himself for counters. Almeida doesn't have the best wrestling. His wrestling has gotten better, but on his takedown entries, he does the same setup every single time, where he'll feint high a lot of the time with both hands and then dive for the double leg. That's the same entry he has done time and time again every single time he shoots in a takedown from distance. And when you go for a double leg, you leave your chin exposed, and if Derrick Lewis can time that takedown, he could land an uppercut like he did against Curtis Blades. Those entries are very dangerous from Almeida because he's coming in from such a far range. There's so much distance for him to cover, and there's going to be a lot of distance for him to cover in this fight because he's going up against a guy that on the feet he doesn't want to be anywhere near boxing range with. He'll probably spend most of this fight on the feet, either out of range or at kicking range, where he'll throw front kicks and leg kicks and then look for the takedown opportunity. And then when he shoots that takedown, because of how far out he is, there's a lot of distance to cover. and he uses the same setup every single time. So if Lewis can pick up on that tell, on that setup where he feints high and then goes low, can he time an uppercut like he did against Curtis Blades? Blades is a better wrestler than Almeida. Or on the feet when Almeida throws the front kick, can Derrick Lewis catch it and then land a right hand? That's what happened in the first round against Shamil, where he opened up through the front kick, Shamil caught it and then landed that right hand. Now if that's Derrick Lewis landing that right hand, there's a strong chance he wouldn't be able to recover. But in the end, what's my final prediction? I think it is a lot closer of a fight than what the odds say. And I'm definitely not ruling out the possibility of Derrick Lewis knocking him out cold, but I gotta go with Jailton Almeida, and I'll go with him by a first round submission. Getting taken down and submitted so easily by Sergey Spivak is not a good look for Lewis, especially since Almeida is much better than Spivak. I think most likely Almeida will stick at range, throw front kicks, throw leg kicks, and then eventually feint high, shoot the takedown, complete the double leg, and then as Lewis looks to turtle to get up, I think Almeida will transition to the back, choke him out, or potentially flattening him out and then finishing him with ground and pound. I could also see Almeida transitioning into mount, landing ground and pound, causing Lewis to give up his back and then he chokes him out like that. But I'm definitely not ruling out the possibility of Derrick Lewis knocking him out. On that takedown entry, he leaves himself very exposed, leaves his chin right up in the air, and he's very predictable on his takedowns, using the same setup every single time, and he's got a massive amount of distance to cover. So I could see Derrick Lewis timing an uppercut or potentially a knee, who knows. We saw that flying knee in his last fight, knocking Almeida out like he did to Curtis Blades. I could also see on the feet Derrick Lewis just catching him. Almeida doesn't have the best striking defense. He does move his feet a lot, but he doesn't move his head too well, which leaves room for Derrick to land that big right hand. And who knows, maybe Lewis can defend the takedowns. He's got not great takedown defense, but he's just a big guy, and Almeida's quite small for the heavyweight division. As well, Almeida doesn't have the best takedowns, but in the end, I'm going to go with Almeida by a first round submission. But anyways, that is the end of the video. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to subscribe if you want. Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Like the video if you did enjoy. Comment who you think will win in the comments down below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I'm stuck in a bad dream, Hollywood rich girl stuck in my backseat, and she wanna get at me, but the day's too short, can't let her distract me.